When I was 7 years old, I stole 3 rocks from my brother. 20 years later, telling my mom about it destroyed our relationship. When I was in first grade, I grew up in a very poor family. I was constantly reminded that we didn't have much, and I was taught to feel ashamed of it. I didn't have toys of my own. I shared my brother's clothes and their things. One day, my teacher announced we would have show and tell. All the other kids were excited, but I wasn't. I had nothing to bring, nothing that was mine. So I went into my brother's room and found 3 shiny minerals, 2 purple ones and 1 red one. They looked beautiful in my small hands. The next day, I proudly took them to school and showed the class. My teacher loved them. The kids loved them. At the end of the day, my teacher stopped me and said, "Why don't you leave them here overnight? They'll be safe with me." I didn't want to, but she insisted. I agreed, and that was my mistake. The next day, I went back to class. The red rock was gone. I told my teacher, but she didn't help me. I was completely alone in that moment. My mom and my brother didn't even know I had taken the rocks in the first place. I felt horrible, ashamed, guilty. I took the 2 remaining rocks and hid them in my closet at my dad's house. Every time I looked at them, I felt terrible, so I stopped looking at them, and they stayed hidden there for years. Fast forward almost 20 years later. I'm now 25. I still had those rocks, hidden on those shelves. One day, I decided to tell my mom the secret. I thought we would laugh about it. A silly childhood mistake. But she had other things in mind. But she didn't laugh. She got angry. She demanded that I return the rocks to my brother. I begged her not to tell him about it. She promised she wouldn't. 3 years later, she told him anyway. I felt betrayed. All the shame I had carried as a child came rushing back. I wrote her a long letter explaining how I felt. I asked her to read it carefully before responding. Instead, she reacted with anger. She called me terrible names and kept bringing up the rocks for months. I told her this bothered her more than it bothered my brother. But she wouldn't let it go. Eventually, I stopped talking to her completely. Recently, she called my dad crying. She said she felt terrible for what happened between us. She had even gone out and bought new minerals for my brother. When she gave them to him, he got angry and said, "I told you I never cared about those rocks. Why did you waste money on this?" That's when she finally realized the damage she had done. For years, and it was never about the rocks. It was about trust, and she broke it.